Mindfulness, a word you heard before, from celebrity endorsement to everyday people. Everybody's talking about it, but let's explore a little deeper what it actually means. Why is it a $4 billion industry? Then let's explore its origins, where the word comes from. Let's talk about Jon Kabat-Zinn, the father of modern mindfulness. Then let's actually review what the Buddha said about the meaning of mindfulness. Let's contrast the opinion between modern mindfulness and classical mindfulness and its possible applications. And then we will draw some conclusions after that. A $4 billion industry is hard to ignore. It's everywhere. Everybody's talking about mindfulness, from being trendy in Silicon Valley to Hollywood, celebrities endorsing it, and everyday people afterwards trying to do the same thing. But I really wonder what they're actually doing and what they really understand by the word mindfulness. As it has become trendy, we have all kind of products about it, which just makes it even more confusing. From clothes, mindful clothes, to mindful mayo, yes, because it's actually a thing. People put mindful mayo on stuff. But certainly, they probably just completely ignore the meaning of it, both from the manufacturers to the consumers. Let's review a little bit where does mindfulness actually come from. It comes from the ancient texts that were reflecting what the Buddha said, and he was talking about meditation. The word he used was Sati. We will explore a little later what that means. Fast forward to 1910, a scholar decided to quote the term mindfulness to translate from Sati. Jon Kabat-Zinn was a professor who personally practiced a lot of meditation and himself found a lot of benefits and wanted to translate that benefits into research and studies for the Western culture to use. He found out that it's very useful to treat many diseases and to help many people living with conditions to make the quality of life a lot better. So he introduced the mindfulness-based stress reduction program. So Jon Kabat-Zinn had to define the word in order to make the studies and make all the research, had to define mindfulness as paying deliberate attention to the present moment without judgment. I don't think he intended to give a meaning to the word. He just needed to find something scientifically accurate. So he needed to quote the term like that. But I don't think his intention was at all to have some sort of opinion about it. He just wanted to be very practical as any scientist. A good question would be, obviously, where does the term come from? And if it comes from Buddhism, what did the Buddha actually say about that? The Buddha himself didn't use the word mindfulness because he didn't speak English. The word he used was Sati, which originally means memory or retention. One thing is to talk about memory, as the original meaning could be, and another thing is to say that it's mindfulness, with a mindful, although there is some quality of attending to objects, but on itself, the word says that the mind is full. But then we go to the modern definition of mindfulness, which Jon Kabat-Zinn, just for practical purposes of understanding the confusing term, he described it as being present in the moment without judging, which would be the definition of an empty mind. So he kind of, the definition, in my opinion, contradicts a little bit the word, but I think that's on purpose and for practical reasons. So who's right?
What a mess!
In my opinion, everybody's right. Everybody has their angle. Everybody doing it for a good reason. What could be considered modern mindfulness, as everybody understands it right now, let's take the Jon Kabat-Zinn definition, it's a very practical thing for people who are very stressed out, which is most people nowadays, and they are trying to heal from something. They are just trying to recover. They just want to bring their mind and their body to a restful state, a place from where you can actually improve, not in a place of demand, of stress, of being tired all the time. So modern mindfulness is pretty much based on that. But I believe the original meaning is way more useful for people who are deeply motivated to meditate and understand what the Buddha meant by that. The term Sati not only refers to spacing out with a guided meditation on an app, but is meant for people who actually want to balance their attention beyond average, to ultimately cultivate a state completely devoid of suffering, which we could call perfect happiness, completely detached from any physical object or situation around you, which implies an incredible amount of self-discipline. Ultimately, mindfulness is a word, and in this context, words don't have a meaning. Let me explain. The word flower isn't actually the same thing as the experiencing of a flower. Someone could not speak or think and still hold or smell a flower and have the same experience as someone who will be defining the flower, let's say, in different languages. Still is the same experience for a French person to a Japanese person. Observing and experiencing the flower is pretty much the same for every living being. In the same way, mindfulness is a word that is trying to describe something beyond the concepts. The concepts are just a tool to lead you to the experience. For me personally, if you want to use another word, I think a good fit is attention. It's just that it's still pretty much generic, and that's why many people wouldn't agree they have enough characteristics. But in my personal experience, it doesn't sound like a strange Eastern or a concept you don't know. It's the attention you are actually using to see this video in this moment. You could not use the term mindfulness and still be a pretty much advanced meditator, or you could talk all the time about mindfulness and read books about mindfulness and yet not understand what it means. Well, this was my first video. I hope it wasn't boring. I need to learn how to speak to the camera and explain ideas, but hopefully you bear with me, stay with me on this trip. I already did a sort of a meditation you can already follow here in this channel, and hopefully we'll upload a lot more. I'm really open at this point. I'm learning everything, so I'm very much open to any suggestion on how to improve this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.